Video call by the host.
Greetings, everyone, especially our Gambia team. So it's very late in the Gambia right now.
Okay.
Today is January 25th, and on my side of the pond, it's about 5:08 p.m. We're here today to discuss the cultural exchange experience for Miss Lauren Byrd out of Baltimore, Maryland, the Gambia. We're excited about this 3-month journey in exchange that she's going to have with you. And so this is an opportunity for us to talk about that process and for you to introduce yourself for the time. So I should start with our study and cultural exchange manager, by who? By if you could introduce yourself. And I think By just went away. That's really interesting. Well, technical difficulties. Trust me, Lauren, you'll learn all about the lack of connectivity and you'll have a lot of experience with it. But we do have your cultural exchange sister here, Miss Jennifer Torre. Jennifer, are you able to introduce yourself and tell Lauren a little bit about you and some of the things she can expect when she arrives to the Gambia? Jennifer, can you hear us? Jennifer? Hey, we see you waving. Poor baby. I now see that you still don't have a microphone. And that is so unfortunate. I'm going to have to do more orientation around Zoom. I know this isn't a platform that you all typically use, and you can't hear us either. Wow.
Yeah, so that's
okay.
what she
Sorry,
said.
but
She probably didn't. She probably declined the audio connectivity, and yeah.
And so that means that she's not able to hear us. Well, we'll make sure that we do another session where we do introductions, official and formal introductions, but it looks like our cultural exchange manager has just rejoined us. And so that'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself. We see that you have returned. We're in the moment where we're doing introductions for Lauren. As her cultural exchange manager, could you please introduce yourself and tell her a little bit about the Gambia?
Okay. Hi, greetings to you, Miss. I am my name is Basil Hussein. Teaching Artist Institute facilitator in the Gambia, and the coordinator and so on for the great job we are doing. Um, my specialist is in the agriculture, but actually the grassroots of the Teaching Artist Institute in the Gambia. So we just doing a great job with the help of the
I think
Artist Institute
I can see that
followers.
having a little difficulty. We're all having a little difficulty hearing you. If you could speak a
Gambia
little
by
and a little louder, maybe get closer to the microphone on your telephone, that might help.
oh okay, sorry. Yeah, it's Basil Hussein in the Gambia. You heard it right?
Yes,
Teaching
heard
Artist
that.
Institute. Okay, okay. And the work is been helping with my colleagues here. We are educated in the art sector, as we have different sectors we have been in in the agriculture, which is my most of my area. So uh, the sisters sisterhood also is working here with the help of Miss Genova and Mariam and others. Yeah, so it's a great start. It's been about maybe 2 to 3 years now. We've been moving gradually with the help of this you people. Some we have met and some we didn't met, but we all see the great job. I think let me just hold on for a while and allow King to continue.
Thank you, Bye. I appreciate
Mhm.
that. Lauren, if you will allow me to do a little translation, I know that the audio is not as clear as it could be.
Yeah.
As your cultural exchange manager for the process, he basically informed you that he works in agriculture and he's been the leading force behind establishing the Teaching Artists Institute in the Gambia. And we've been working for about 3 years now. He also spoke briefly on behalf of his sister, Geneba, which will be your cultural exchange sister. And Geneba, we're so sorry. Trust me, once she gets to talking, honey, you will really truly understand better who she is. It's such a travesty that her microphone is not working at this time. I know it's late. You know, the signal is bad. They are still using credit. So every time you're online, credit is required. So we appreciate them taking the time to be here and discuss this with us. Um, Lauren, I would now like for you to introduce yourself and tell them a little about who you are and why you've decided to come to the Gambia.
Well, peace. So, um, just a tiny note. I'm Lauren on paper. I'm Bemi. Cause I don't want to confuse people because they're gonna be like, who was Lauren? I'm Bemi. So we can just for official paperwork, I'm Lauren, but that's just because of legalese. Um, but peace, my name is Bemi. I am from New Jersey, here in the US. I've been living in Baltimore, Maryland for 13 years this year. Wow. Um, and this will be my first time to West Africa, to Africa overall. Um, Only my second time out of the United States. So I am very excited. I am very nervous. I am very anxious. I am unsure. I'm definitely, I'm just very curious to see, like, even just what stepping onto that land and like that space will feel like to me, because I definitely recognize where going to Haiti was significant for my life and the way I viewed the world and things that I did and how I moved forward. So I'm really excited to come and crochet and teach some art and learn as well. Like, I really just want to see what life looks like in a space differently than like what I've been hardwired to think it's supposed to be or has to be every day. So,
Wow, that's incredible. And thank you for giving us permission to call you Bemi.
oh,
I,
yeah.
uh, I sometimes like feel the need to be professional and I'm like, oh, it's Lauren Miss Bird if you're nasty. Like, no, no, just call me Bemi. I appreciate that.
I
Uh,
remember one time when I was working at the grocery store at Whole Foods, everybody called me Bemi. And one time this lady was looking at the computer screen on the other side and she's like, well, who's Lauren? And I was like, because I didn't realize our name was up on the top at that side but nobody usually ever said anything. This one person was like, well, what was that? Mind your business. Don't worry about that.
okay, okay. Nothing like a good story. Now I'm going to tell you a little more about the process. Outside of you sharing your skills in crochet and fabric design with sheroes and fishermen across the country, anyone that's willing to learn. And outside of you doing that work to help support the infrastructure of TAI Gambia in our office space on the ground, while you're there, we also want you to achieve certain outcomes, just in exchange in general. And so we're going to talk a little bit through our cultural workbook today so that we can give you, as well as our Gambian partners, an opportunity to ask questions. So if you'll give me a moment to share my screen, I'm going to do that. Can everybody see my screen? Yes, yes, maybe so. I can't see you shake your head. I'm going to just assume that you've said yes. Um, so your cultural exchange workbook is focused on self-reflection, language arts, and team building. We call that unearthing the symbolic landscape. So it's very important that of all the skills you learn during your international Thai studies and cultural exchange, that you do deep self-reflection, you enhance your language arts, and that you engage in a bit of team building. The Gambia 2022 Cultural Exchange, let's give a basic overview. We're all on the same page. The Thai Studies and Cultural Exchange Program is focused on curating authentic exchanges with communities of the world in order to study or contribute to the region's symbolic landscape. So let's just stop there and talk about symbolic landscape. What does that mean? Well, we all understand physical landscape, physical structures, but physical landscape is a part of the narrative. Symbolic landscape, that is the story that the institutions on the physical landscape and the story that the people believe about themselves. So the institutions in the area, the geography, the religion, the political affiliations, the industries and manufacturing or lack thereof, everything that the people believe about themselves, the story that they tell their children about who they are and where they're from and where their community is going. All of these things, in addition to the actual physical geography and landscape, together collectively create the symbolic landscape. The goal of the experience is to ensure that participants receive a holistic introduction to the region by being fully immersed in intimate ways with local culture and people of different sectors and classes in the region. So let's talk about your project assignment overview. This cultural exchange assignment will focus on an experiential learning journey that identifies indigenous knowledge of 4 ethnic groups of the Gambia and modern day application. So Gambia is an incredible location in the Gambia to learn about all of West Africa. And the reason is because there's so many different ethnic groups living in a small concentrated area. They're intermingled and intermarried, and it's a beautiful expression of West African culture. And you'll have close proximity to all of their languages and foods and religious backgrounds and cultural dances and songs. It's going to be an incredible opportunity to learn about many ethnic groups all at the same time. So we're going to ask that throughout your project assignment, you focus on identifying 4 ethnic groups. And hopefully, when I finish going over this small packet, maybe Bai and Jennifer can tell you a little bit about their ethnic groups. So the result of the experience will be captured through a photographic essay published in the first edition of the Artifacts magazine. So we'll talk a little about the Artifacts magazine, and we'll talk about what photographic essays do, but we definitely want to make an emphasis on you having the materials you need to take quality pictures, that you have a basic general knowledge around what a photographic essay is, so that you can use the images you take to tell stories through your eyes about your experience in the region. So, tools of the GROW model, GROW, GROW. I love acronyms, by the way. I'm really cheesy and corny that way. Section 1, symbolic landscape study, reflective essay. So after you do your initial assessment of the area, just kind of sit with yourself, take it all in. We want you to write a reflective essay. You can do it in the form of journaling or poetry. There is no template. Some people say essay is the template, but what we're saying is essay is just a suggestion for the fact that we want you to capture and be intentional about capturing your initial impression of the symbolic landscape. And we call that a symbolic landscape study. Next, we want you to do a field study. That means you have to go with intention into the people, places, and things to really begin to unpack that story, peel back the layers of that onion, and get beyond the surface impression and ask for opportunities for immersion in the areas that pique your interest. Section 3, Speakers Bureau. That is when we are intentional about organizing a cultural exchange for the public, where you're going to be sharing your skills. And this will be in section 3, this will be the first time that you have a chance to do that to the public. Section, we want you to know your way around. So this is when we take you outside of the actual location in Bacau Stadium where you'll be staying and working. We want you to go, to the place where Mama Nasira stays. He can tell you the name. I think she just moved. We want you to go to the Upper River region. That's about 3 or 4 hours away. When we say that we want you to have a cultural exchange with the Gambia, we're not just talking about Banjul. We're not just talking about Westfield, where Bob will show you his office and his agricultural shop. We want you to understand the Gambia in its totality. And last but not least, before you leave, we would want you to do a creative communication performance. And so this creative communication is an opportunity for you to use your art to describe your experience, to explain what exchange took place and how it has impacted you and the local people. It should be inclusive. It should be communal and collective. And upon return, we would ask that you do an exit survey. The exit survey should include exit survey testimonials where you talk about your experience and help to basically promote this so that other people will follow in your path, especially as the first TAI Studies and Cultural Exchange participant in the Gambia for Teaching Artists Institute and TAI Tours. I think this is going to be really significant. So let's talk a little about our pedagogy, objectives, and strategies. So how? The Gambian Cultural Exchange allows learning to take place holistically. Through the GROW model, participants validate their inherent knowledge and create new experiences simultaneously. That means that everything you've learned up until this point matters. It will serve you. All of the I say streetwise, all the things that keep you alert in emergency situations and on your toes, all of the intuitive womb work that you've done with women as a crocheting doula, all of this knowledge around bartending and being in customer service, every lesson that you've learned will serve you in this experience. Forget about separating the knowledge that you receive. There's no such thing as separate subjects. There's no English and math and science and history. All of them are simultaneously serving you and your experience at the same time. And Gambia and your cultural immersion there is going to teach you that. It's going to bring it to the forefront. And we want to capture that experience while your interdisciplinary knowledge is at work. So be sure to capture your journey. That's how. Pedagogy, using TAI Studies and cultural exchange programs, symbolic landscape, navigate model. This works with, This work will expose participants to scopes and methods of African-centered cultural anthropology in order to foster a mutually beneficial relationship between the Gambia and the researcher, which is you. Because make no mistake about it, you're always actively doing research. Um, this model is used in an effort to encourage the researchers to become more culturally aware community advocates that nurture global citizenship. Experiential learning reflective cycle. So the first stage is concrete experience description. What happened? Context, roles played by you and others. All these questions will help you write that initial reflective essay. Next, how do you feel before the symbolic landscape study? And how about now? Those are the kind of questions you ask yourself as you go through your journey towards the end. What was your initial impression? And now that you know Bai and his accent is easily understood, now that you know Jennifer and you understand where she's from and her ethnic group and the language she speaks, now how do you feel about the symbolic landscape and the busyness and the sandstorms and the weather and all the things that come with the Gambia? Then you'll go through an evaluation. What is the cultural narrative of the Gambia? And so you remember when I said that the symbolic landscape is the story, that the geographic location and physical structures and the narrative that the people believe about themselves combined. And so you would, at that point in evaluation, ask yourself, what is the cultural narrative of the Gambia from your own perspective? What do the people believe about themselves? How are you a part of the narrative? Then active experimenting, semi-nomadic practical. So that means you're going to be semi-nomadic. We'll try to dedicate at least a week. And that's when you're going to travel to different regions where you'll get to live amongst the people, adopt their ways, do as they do, and take it all in. And then postscript, Artifacts Magazine, the photographic essay. We want you to connect, share, and then raise awareness of what we're doing so that other people have the experience. So this is basically our pedagogy, and this is the how. This is how we go through the cultural exchange process. So then we have one page about creative communication, and I'll give you an opportunity to go through that on your own, but it's just a very quick blurb that kind of speaks to art for social transformation. The Teaching Artists Institute incorporates griot-styled narratives into every element of the art of survival training. So being able to think quick on your feet, being integrated into an area and immersed culturally outside of your own worldview is like surviving. You learn certain skills, you heighten your sensitivity, you're in a new environment. And so that is what we call the art of survival training. Art for us is simply creation. Even your ideas is art. That's art. When you think a new thought, consider it art. And social, that's us together, all of us. Transformation, that is the process of dramatic become metamorphosis. So you can go through that on your goal of innovation and creativity. We'll talk more about that and how it serves as a tool in civic engagement. And you'll need that because you're new. Just because you're there and Ba says, love her, and Jennifer says, this is my sister, doesn't mean that the community at large will initially embrace you. In intimate ways. And so using your art as a tool is going to be an opportunity for you to create and foster real relationships. And then you see just a little map of the diaspora and how you as an individual came to live on this side of the pond. And now that you're repatriating, going back, you are definitely your ancestors' wildest dreams. When they were taken from this side in the Gambia, Kunta Kinte Island, and brought here to the US and the Carolinas and in Georgia, they never thought that we would ever be able to go back. And you, sis, you are a perfect example of the fact that we are coming back. And our brothers and sisters are here to support us in that process. We're growing on both sides of the pond, and now we have created opportunities for us to grow together. So that's basically your cultural exchange workbook in a nutshell. It's an overview. We do have a few templates that we'll be adding to help you map your thoughts, and a few templates to help you find your way around, small maps, etc. We'll give you those things a little closer to your departure date. But right now, I just want to talk and answer any questions. Bye. Are you still with us? Okay, I do see you. Are you able to come off of mute?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Thank you for still being with us. Do you have any
Yeah.
questions for myself or Bemi about this experience?
Okay.
Anything at all?
Okay.
Say again.
Yeah, I heard you. The question is already been answered by you because you have almost said everything. So for the
Okay.
reason she is coming and the job she will be doing here. So that was my point I want to ask, but you made it clear.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I
Yeah.
was able to answer your question.
The
Bimi,
question was answered before
do
asking.
you have any questions based on the information I just shared?
Say
So
again.
one the other day, I know you sent me. Was it? Is it the whole workbook that you sent
Say
me on
again?
WhatsApp the other day? I thought it was just the cover of it, but is it actually the workbook? Like those pages we just went through? Do I have those?
No, no, no. You only had the cover page. I was just letting you know what was coming next.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
now
because
I'll send you the entire booklet.
okay, all right, cool. And then I did have a question. I know you mentioned like traveling the areas in the region and everything, and I thought about, of course, there's right, but I know we talked about there being fishermen and stuff. Is there like beach area like?
Oh, sorry, Bimmy. You were you were saying, is there beach? Is there a beach area?
Yeah, like is there like when we talk about like what is the, I guess what I'm saying, like what's the region like what's the area? You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yes. By do you want to talk with about the Gambia's landscape? She wants to know if there are beach.
Yeah, there are there are beaches here. There are beaches mm, where where everybody goes, maybe to have fun or refresh some airs, or maybe to have some meal there. You remember the last meal we went again, but Mama Nazire and is it Dr. Joe? Yeah, that type of speak.
You're still muted.
Hello? Ye- Hello? What was
Yeah,
he asking?
yeah.
Maybe
Tim's muted right. I don't know if she realizes it.
yeah, 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 nice beaches,
Okay, so I think that we frozen a little bit. Nice. I have to agree by there are
many people
beaches.
go at beach with friends, with maybe have fun swimming. Well,
Nice.
I
That sounds good to me. Since I'm leaving winter, I'd
Yeah,
like to know if I can take advantage of the warm weather. I mean, it's gonna be. I'm sure just being in the weather will be positive in general, but if I can splash in somebody's,
yes.
that's cute.
Listen, every morning, the entire of Gambia is a beach, the entire country. And there's a river that runs through it. So when you're not on the coast, you're at the riverbank. And so, water holds memory. And, down by the riverside, there's also lots to be done for our healing and wellness. And so I look forward to hearing about your journeys in both places, on the coast, on the beach, and also on the river. And you'll have an opportunity to experience both. So before we go, I just want to make sure that I open and the opportunity for questions. Do you have any other questions while you have our Gambian parties on the line? I know that it's really late in the Gambia right now, and so I do want to respect their time, but this is the first of several orientations that we'll have prior to your departure. And so I just want to give you the opportunity to ask now and not forever hold your peace, but if not now, then think about what you may want to ask later, and we'll make sure that we get answers to those questions.
Yeah.
And
Well, I also noted. Oh, I don't know. She's gone again now. I don't know. I was like, Geneva's back. I didn't know if her audio was working. I was getting ready to say if she wanted to speak, but we lost her again.
of
Um,
course,
um, no, I mean not off the top of my head. I honestly, I'm glad I had this opportunity. I didn't realize I was gonna be chatting with them as well, so I didn't really think about things that I like, want to know specifically. But I definitely was really curious about the beach, to be honest. I think the information also that you gave today about like what I will be doing and like what the expectation is it kind of helps too. Because to be honest, when people are asking me, I'm like, I'm going. We'll see. I don't know. We going play it out from there. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm going with the flow. I'll let y'all know when I know. But
cool. And we'll also have another logistical conversation about your fundraiser coming up next weekend, as well
uh,
as answering some of the questions.
so and that's I meant to, because the person whose shop it is, the vegan juice bar, she had somebody do a flyer yesterday, and I thought about it later. We hadn't talked, so I guess we can follow up while we don't have to use up their time. Um, but yeah, because
Sure.
that's this Saturday. Um,
No problem. We can talk about it maybe sometime tomorrow. And
okay.
you can send me the flyer and we can figure out how to best promote it. So outside of that, thank you guys for being with us. Jennifer, we're going to give you another chance, get you some strong data, sister. Don't you worry. Having a cultural exchange sister or a cultural exchange brother, it really helps with being away from home and the cultural, like the community orientation and immersion, taking you outside of the office, making sure that you meet with real people, making sure that you get adopted by a local family. In Africa, family is still very important and it's very much a part of community life. And so as someone from the outside immersing themselves into the culture, you must have a family. You must be adopted by someone's lineage in order for you to begin the process of being accepted by the community. And so I'm so excited that Jennifer is going to be your cultural exchange sister. But outside of that, thank you again, Bai. We're so glad you're going to be the cultural exchange manager. And the next time, I'm sure that Ibrima Gite will be here with us. He'll be your TAI Tours curator, helping you with excursions throughout your journey. Thank you guys again, and I will see you next time.
Wait, we got Jennifer right here.
Oh, we have hope. Maybe audio
It's
will
saying it's connecting to audio.
try one more time. Out.
I would hate for us to disappear as she's connecting. I feel like
Oh, only a video. I don't know why.
there we
Okay.
are.
Oh, thank you
P.
too.
Did it work?
Maybe.
No, it didn't work.
I thought
Okay.
that was her. I thought I heard her.
It's her see her video,
What?
but we did not hear her audio. We will figure it out, Jennifer. I think it's because you're not allowing Zoom to tap into your audio. And
Well,
I
it said connecting to audio this time also though, so I don't know.
if that's the case. Mm,
Yeah, 'cause it said connecting to audio on the bottom of her thing, like it was trying to connect.
I don't know why. Well, we will definitely figure it out before our next cultural orientation session. But you guys, you have an incredible night. I know it's so late in the Gambia. And Miss Bemi, you have a nice afternoon. Let's plan something this week early, okay?
Okay, I'll send you what I have as for
Yeah. Well,
I'll the
but
flyer
I
day.
think it's not late yet. It's not late because the you
Okay,
know.
peace.
Excuse me. And I